Paging Aitken Robertson to courtroom number 2. The jury is back with a verdict. Members of the jury, how do you find the accused? Guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty on all accounts, Your Honor.
Welcome to Legally Speaking, your insightful YouTube channel where we explore legal matters that affect everyday life. I'm Melanie van Orde, your host and licensed paralegal, and today we delve into a topic that touches on a common legal issue, breach charges. Joining me today is Phil Stiles, a seasoned legal counsel with extensive experience in navigating the complexities of criminal law. Together, we'll unravel what constitutes a breach charge, the implication it carries, and what individuals should know if faced with such allegations. So stay tuned as we provide you with clarity on breach charges. Hi, Phil.
Hi, Melanie.
How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. And thank you for having me.
Well, it's always a pleasure. Phil, please, can you tell our audience what is a breach?
Well, a breach can mean a few things in the criminal law context. Two types of breaches come to mind when I think of a breach. One is breach of a release order. So after being arrested, someone is often released on what's called an undertaking, or they're held for court and they're released by a justice of the peace on a recognizance. So one breach can result in, or one type of breach is when you breach that court order that's in place while your case is waiting to be heard in court. So that's one type of breach. Another type of breach is to breach a sentencing order. And that, an example of that would be if you are subject to a term of probation and your term of probation includes to have no contact with the particular individual, then you could be charged if you end up violating that order, or if you're in contravention of that particular condition. So a breach is a common term that's used to cover many different types of offenses that involve violating a court order, essentially.
And then all breach charges serious.
Well, yes, the court takes breach charges very seriously because they are officially, you have violated an order, or alleged to have violated an order that's been imposed by the court. It's a direct contravention of essentially or a direct contravention of a order imposed by the court. So the court often sees a breach as someone thumbing their nose at the justice system. It's not, and usually breaches come up after someone has already come in contact with the criminal justice system. So in other words, while you're awaiting your court matter to be heard, you are subject to an order, and the court sees it as in that short period of time, you've violated that order. So it's always taken very seriously.
And then, Phil, one of the very common terms that we usually see on, for example, certain orders would be direct and indirect communication with a specific person. So, can you maybe give us a little bit of an explanation on or a common example or scenario where specifically those terms are breached?
Well, certainly. So direct communication, that one's the obvious one. That's where you're doing something to communicate specifically with one person, and there's no intervening uh, person or intervening factor before that person gets your message. That one's easy for people to understand. You know, it would include a direct phone call, knocking on somebody's door. It would include if they were to see them on the street, walking over to them and striking up a conversation. That's obvious direct communication. But indirect communication is a concept that many people struggle with a bit, and that that's because for indirect communication to happen, it's not necessarily that you contact someone directly, but that you are passing on a message somehow to somebody, and that can be even through two or three individuals or a number of mediums. So, for example, if a common one is for for someone who's charged to say to a friend, "Hey, could you tell my ex-partner, the complainant, that I'll pick my son up on Tuesday after school?" Well, it seems pretty innocuous, but that is passing on a message to somebody from somebody who is bound by an order to have no contact with an individual, direct or indirect. So people have to be very careful after they're subject to an order to have no contact, to do things absolutely by the book. And if there's any question about whether their conduct is going to amount to an offense, they should be contacting their lawyer or getting some proper advice about it, because it's so easy to be in violation of the order through indirect communication.
Well, thank you so much, Phil, for all your insight onto breaches today. And thank you for everyone else for joining us on the Legally Speaking Aitken Robertson YouTube channel. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss another video. Until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and take care. Thank you for tuning in to Legally Speaking, proudly brought to you by Aitken Robertson Criminal Defence. We represent clients facing criminal charges all over Ontario, providing you with legal support and dedicated advocacy. If you enjoyed this episode and want to see more content, please like and subscribe to our channel. For more information, visit our website. We also offer free books on various types of criminal charges, which you can request on our website or by using the QR codes on your screen now. For legal assistance, call us today or visit our website to request a meeting with one of our experienced lawyers or licensed paralegals. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time on Legally Speaking.